So far, we only get one function left for setup patches. We already done the nest, build up the food, and now we need to recolor patches. In the first two functions, the actual work of these two functions is to build and paint the patches of the nest and the patches of food. And for the non-food, non-nest patches, we also need to paint them. That is the purpose of this function. So let's go there and have a look. This function is actually very simple. It first, to check with the patches, which is neither in the food area nor in the nest area. So we use a condition to choose the patches. We ask patches with food is 0. Food is a property of a patch. So every patch got this food property. So if those patches whose food is 0, then they are not in the food area. Also, we require the patches to be not in the nest area. We use the nest question mark to evaluate every patch to see whether they satisfy the condition that the patch within 5 units distance within those 3 specified patches. If not, then this is false, and not false is true. So in this way, we can use this condition to specify those patches which is not in the nest. So this condition satisfied, not in the food area. This condition satisfied, not in the nest area. So this is the area left, which means this is the area of the black area. All the black area is the patches we are talking about, and we are going to somehow repaint this area, this black area. But when we try this, when we do this recolor patches, we're just supposed to paint this area, but nothing happens. Why is that? We should read this this line of code, which is how do they paint. It says for every patch in the black area, every patch should change its color into green, but not just green. It's a green, but in the scale level. It will scale up from value 0.1 to 5. And this 0.15 is the range for pheromone. But the green color will match this range in equal proportion. So for example, if pheromone's value is start with 0.1 to the maximum value of 5, then the green color for the patch, if this patch has a pheromone value of 0.1, then this patch color will be very, very dark green. And if this patch's pheromone value is 5, then this patch's green color will be very, very light, very bright, almost like a white color. So this is how the scale color work. And the reason why when we run this line of code, when we run this function, we see no difference, that is because the pheromone value for all the patches is 0. That's why we don't see any color change. Because if the value is 0, which is below the minimum value, then it will be very, very dark. It's almost black, so it's just black. That's why we don't see any change, because it's original black. So the only way to see how this function works, we need to do some changes. For example, we can create a line of patches, color it up, and give them different value of pheromone. For example, we can do this. Now, first of all, let's just make sure every patches in the black area, their pheromone actually is 0. In fact, all patches should be 0 because these are food. Food has no pheromone. We never set pheromone, so the pheromone value should be default value, which is 0. So we can try it. So let's sum up all the pheromone value of all patches, 0. So that's it. That's why we don't see any color change. So now we need to create some, we need to make some patches to stand out and also to have different value of pheromone. What do? We can run this line of code. What this line code does is, first of all, it will ask certain patches with coordinates y to be -10. This is 0. This is y -10. And for the x, starts from 0 to 30, which is below 30, which is from 1 to 29. Okay, so, and also we want this line of patches to be yellow, and we want every patch to have a different value, and the value is their own x coordinates. So now we can try out to print out all their pheromone values. Look, this 29 patches have their pheromone value to be their x coordinates. So it's from 1 to 29. So now if we run recolor patches, so far the recolor patches, their values from the minimum value is 0.1 and the maximum is 5, but our value is way beyond 5. So what will happen? Let's see. What will happen is, for starting from 1 to 5, which is within that range we set, within this range, and then we see clear changes of color from dark green to light green to very, very light, bright, which become almost white. And then beyond the number 5, everything is just white. So that's why we say we want to focus on this value color change. We set the value to be this range. If we want to see all the value change between 0 and 30, then when we run the code again, we will see difference. See, we start from 0 and then we end from 30. That's the range we care about. So the color change will cover the whole range from 0 to 30. So if we only care about very small range of values, we want to only see their color change. We set the range of values from to be very small. If we want to see the whole number difference change, we set the color range to be large. Okay, so that's how we use scale color. This is the code.